breaks down X's and O's at 5:30. Oklahoma State, Baylor, that's a heck of a game in the Big 12. Can TCU bounce back against what looks like maybe Texas running down the tracks? Nationally, you've got Notre Dame and Cincinnati, Alabama, Ole Miss. Those are a couple of big boy games as well. Which one is the most obviously, we cover Baylor, so we're going to discuss that quite a bit. Which one intrigues you the most in college football, either one of you?
I think Alabama, Ole Miss, mostly because of the Saban streak against his former assistants. Can Lane Kiffin be the one to knock him off? I mean, he's got a quarterback going, great guns, and offense that Nick Saban has routinely struggled with to stop. The losses that he has taken over the years are normally to spread teams. So maybe this is the one that knocks him off. But again, I'm not going to pick Ole Miss to win until there's about 2 seconds on the clock, just because it's Alabama, and Saban's had some sort of hold over his assistants.
He's never lost to a former assistant. Is that right?
That's right.
Yeah, I don't know if this is still the case because it's just off the top of my head. But last I looked, and I'm just not sure if it's been updated, but 14.5-point favorites are Alabama. I mean, think about how good Ole Miss appears to be, and that's how good people think Alabama is that they would still be 2-touchdown favorites. I can't imagine there's another team in the country that would be 2-touchdown. Maybe Georgia, and I don't even know about that.
Georgia's 17.5.
Yeah, so there you go. Like Georgia and Bama just appear to be so
above everybody.
Yeah. I am looking though to seeing them getting tested a little bit. How much of a test remains to be seen. But yeah, definitely Ole Miss, Alabama is right there at the top of the list. Arkansas and Georgia is right there at the top of the list. And then I'm really intrigued by the Big 12. That is a big, nice slate of games that are going to create some separation. Texas and TCU, like you said, that's been a one-sided series of late, but TCU's kind of shaky right now. It's been a bad week for them since the loss to SMU. Texas is flying high, so maybe we start to see a reversal of fortune, and we can go through the rest of the Big 12. I think every game outside of Iowa State and Kansas, because that's just going to be really one-sided. But even that's got the bounce-back effect for Iowa State and how they, get over this loss to Baylor and the last couple of losses they've suffered now. So I'm really looking forward to this weekend.
I always feel bad for Kansas just based on the fact that their football team's been languishing for so long, but I feel extra bad for them playing a team like Iowa State a week after they lost. I mean, because you're gonna see a team that's just gonna be so angry and locked in and mad about the way that their early season has gone. And Iowa State has never been particularly good in September. It's like they wish the month didn't exist, but once the calendar turns October, as it did today, all of a sudden they're world beaters. So yeah. I'd watch out for Iowa State down the line because this has been their history. Lose some games early, but then late, ruin some seasons.
I definitely haven't ruled them out from creating some chaos in the Big 12. I mean, I think I look around the league and I can see them beating Texas. I can see them beating Oklahoma. I can see Oklahoma and Texas beating them too. What I'm saying is I just think that these Big 12 games over the next few weeks are going to be really interesting because I don't think there's an Alabama and a Georgia in this conference. There's, maybe an Oklahoma when they're playing really well, but we haven't even seen them do that one time this year. So that's as close as it's gotten. And so I think that's going to make for, maybe, unfortunately for the Big 12, a conference that beats up on each other a bit, but should make for, a good weekend after weekend of the college football season for Big 12 fans just looking for some great games.
I want chaos. I want college football chaos, and we might be headed down that road. Who knows? And we'll see how it irons out. But this is another weekend of evidence. Some of you, in fact, hey, C. Jenkins, 313. Iowa is on upset alert tonight against Maryland. Don't forget I said it.
Okay.
Where's Tim? Is it Timothy Vermeer or whoever's one of our listeners, a huge Iowa fan? I'm sure we'll hear from him here momentarily.
Yeah, no, Maryland's got some things to like, no doubt about it. They can score a little bit. I think they're just slight underdogs at this point in time against Iowa. So, Iowa obviously has great defense, and they've just been a super solid team. But Maryland is the type of team that can, get on enough of a little swing there to cause you some problems. So I think that will be a good game later on tonight. I don't know about Iowa losing, but definitely a possibility.
All right, so we'll hear from you, 254-339-1122. Let's see here from John Kelly. How we doing? Owen Sapelnik, will Kansas ever win enough games to make bowl eligibility?
Eventually, they're going to find the right mix, and eventually they'll have the right leadership. It's happened before. It will happen again. They have two good eras of football in their history. They had Gale Sayers and then John Riggins right after Gale Sayers.
John Hadel?
Yeah, John. They had that,
Yeah.
and then about 35 years later, they rolled out with Todd Reesing and
Mark Mangino. Yeah.
And
on the cusp of a national championship, if you think about it.
Yeah, I'm looking at their future schedules, and next year they got to play Houston and Duke. The year after, they got to play Illinois and Houston. They got a couple of games like that every year on the schedule. So those are the kind of things where if maybe they had like a really easy non-con schedule, they could get themselves 2 or 3 wins pretty easily, but they can't even get like the one automatic win automatically. So it's going to be – I do think, though, that Leipold's going to do well there. You know, if he stays long enough, that'll be the key.
Give him a chance.
If he stays long enough and they don't do the stupid move that a lot of other ADs sometimes do. They overestimate who they are and where they are. And it's like Frank Solich in Nebraska, for example, when you just think like, oh, well, we're too good for just 8 wins every year. If Kansas can just realize we're going to be just bad and we just got to let this thing ride and just build, then I think Lance Leipold will do a good job there, so long as he's around. But, yeah, it's going to take a little while for sure.
All right, from Matt in D.C., happy Halloween month. Paul loves October because of it.
I do.
Bears by 1. Matt in D.C., thank you.
Okay, thank you, Matt. Yeah, I think it's going to be a close. I picked in our little pick'ems. I picked Oklahoma State by like 3 or 4, by a handful. I just think that being in Stillwater kind of tips the edge in their favor. But yeah, I'm excited that it's Halloween month. I'm not like a huge Halloween person, but it does kind of start that run of holidays, month after month, which I'll enjoy for right now. And then by the time I've bought my $500 then gift for Christmas, New Year's, Valentine's Day, whatever, then I'll be annoyed by it. But right now, the start of it's pretty fun.
I do not acknowledge Halloween, and I do not celebrate it.
So you acknowledge October?
Yes, it's October.
Okay. So if a child rings your doorbell.
Doesn't happen. Doesn't happen. Turn the light off.
Yeah, but if they don't get that. The parent says, go, honey, and they walk up to your door and they ring the door. It's a cute little kid dressed up like Casper the Friendly Ghost.
I don't answer the door.
Do you leave a bucket of candy out? Why not do that? Let's do that this year, you and me. Let's sit at the front porch, smoke a couple of stogies.
No.
Okay.
I do not.
All right.
I do not intend to promote this stupid, bogus holiday, and it's nonsense behavior.
All right,
I'm Team Halloween. I don't care.
Yeah,
Team Halloween, baby.
I just all right. Now, a lot of people on the premium side have been picking the game. The staff was about 50-50 split. I did not get my prediction. And again, I guess I just missed that email, and I don't know why. But I would say, because of where it is, that to me, Oklahoma State has warts, but that's an environment where Baylor has learned how to win. So some of the guys on the team have learned how to win. I just think it's still, I don't know who they are yet, even though that was a fantastic win against Iowa State. And Oklahoma State may be getting healthy just in time. If Baylor wins there, as Craig brought this up, they'll have 2 wins against teams that were at the top of the tier. Robert Allen, who does sidelines for Oklahoma State, brought that up as well. You win tomorrow in Stillwater, you're 2-0, 3-0 in the conference, 2-0 against teams that were in what you thought in that upper chunk of the Big 12 when everything started.
When for Baylor, it's not only that, it's that you'd have one of your biggest road games out of the way. I mean, you're not going to a lot of different places this year.
They are home next week. Now, they got to play tomorrow night. Home next week against West Virginia. Home against Brigham Young in a non-conference game. Off, home against Texas. That is the next 4 weeks after Oklahoma State.
And that's why I pinpointed this as such a turnaround game. I thought, or a turning point game. I thought when the schedule first came out that the first game that you looked at was that Iowa State game, because I thought that they should be 3-0. They were 3-0. And I thought, okay, well, this is the game where you go one way or the other. Now, losing that game doesn't mean that you're doomed by any means, but you're probably not going to be a favorite against Iowa State by the time that game rolls around. And so anyways, they win that game. And so, yeah, now it's the next turning point game, but this really is the one that will be the tone setter, because, yeah, it's 3 straight home games over the next month after this, including a week off. And it's actually all the way until November 6th is the next time they're going to travel.
90 miles north.
And that's to Fort Worth against the TCU team, who knows what they look like a month from now. Then it's back home against Oklahoma, a trip to Manhattan. That's it. And then back home against Tech. So their schedule is like not – there's no way it could be any more set up in their favor. And this is the game that's like that critical. If you go win on the road, you really only have 1 to 2 road tests the entire rest of the season. Everything else is at home. So – Yeah, tomorrow's big for Baylor.
Bob Williams, an Auburn fan, also sent us that great woodwork that's Sikkim Bears. Thank you, Sikkim 365. If Auburn is going to win in Baton Rouge, again, this is the year to do it. He actually said if Auburn's